What's up? It's your favorite attorney. You write me, Booker at bookerlawfirm.com. Your question ends up on the show. Bring you to the court of my public opinion. We're not going to look at this as legal advice because I don't represent you and I may not have all of the facts that I need. However, I'm going to do the best job that I can with what I have. Order in the court. All right, guys. So you already know what time it is. Without further ado, let's get it crack-a-lackin'. They wrote me and they said, what happens when the respondent doesn't file a timely response to divorce papers? If a respondent doesn't file a response to being served with divorce papers by the Monday past 21 days from service, can the petitioner or the filer or the plaintiff, in other words, waive the 60-day period, schedule the hearing, and be divorced? What do I do? All right, y'all. Class is in session. Let's go. A lot of y'all, especially here in Texas, refuse to get divorces, especially my people, okay? My Anunnaki. We don't like to do that. That's going to be my blacks and Latinos. Let's just be honest, okay? Sometimes we do what we call hood divorces, and we just decide we're just going to break up. Like it's a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, and it's not. It's a whole marriage, okay? And I have myself dealt with conniving women, and they don't get any better when they get older. I've had calls from people who, I don't know how in the hell they found my number, but they did. And they ended up getting through to me. And they would ask me, oh, my mom's down, my mom's husband passed. And I'm thinking to myself, your mama's husband? I didn't see your mama having a husband. I've known you for however long and didn't know your mom had a husband, right? Well, the scandalous women will sit up there and stay married to a man to see what they can get from them. We all know that, okay? And I had one time trying to hold a body from the girlfriend. She hadn't been with that man in 30 years. And her trifling daughter called me, and I should have known, like mother, like child, because the apple don't roll too far, okay? The apple don't fall too far, but if it rolls, then it ain't rolling too far. Apples can roll, but they ain't gonna go too far. Okay, so pretty much how the mother is pretty much how the kids are going to be sometimes, not always, but I should have known because they're very close. So that means they're going to be similar in stature. Okay, that's the nicest way for me to say both of them are messy. Okay, and I should have known. Okay, they like to take things that aren't theirs. They feel that that everything belongs to them, and her mom's the same way. Why in the world would you think that you have not messed with a man for 30 years, he has been with somebody else for all this time, and you are going to hold the body from her? But I'm going to go in on this, y'all. Court is in session. I'm pulling you in the courtroom. We have to talk about this because it happens all the time, and we need to get these divorces. For nothing else, but for purposes of us not being drowned up in debt. Don't be cross-related with people. If something happens to you, what are your children going to do? How are you going to clear title to that home, that car? Let's go, y'all. Now, when you file a divorce, and a lot of you all can do it yourself. Here in Texas, we have a website called texaslawhelp.org. We also have one called texasselfhelp.org. These are do-it-yourself websites or legal learning websites that are syndicated by the government. So the information on them can be trusted. They also have different types of forms that you can use. Okay, divorces as well can be found there. Okay, and guys, you can file your divorces. Most of the time, if there aren't children involved or a bunch of property, you can do it yourself. I have a friend of mine, and I walked her through it, and literally, she did it herself. Okay, single mama, and she did it herself. She really did not want to bother me. She used to do my hair, and we were really close. And went to church together, and she just kind of didn't want to bother me. She's a strong woman like myself. And I looked up, and baby, she was filing, and I would just look at it to make sure it was right. She would get down there, get it filed, draft, whatever, and I'd be like, well, that may not be the right decree. Let's make sure, she got all that stuff together, would type it herself, turned her stuff in, and filed her own divorce. What happens is, guys, when you file a divorce, you got to serve the other individual. You have to serve that other individual. And when you serve them, they have so long to respond. And if they don't respond, you can default them. So that's what this person is asking me about. And I want you to listen up because many of the times we become ostriches. We believe that if somebody serves us with papers, we're just going to dig our head in the sand and act like it's not happening and it'll go away. And that's not what happens. People move forward in litigation and they default that ass. They get orders against you and it could end up with a judgment big as hell on your back. You can have a lien on your home. You don't know what you're doing. You can walk away without property. You always go to court when you are served. And so, ma'am, you are going to have to wait the required time period. There's a waiting period. Okay? Once the paper goes in someone's hands by a process server or other party, that has to be properly served. And we'll talk about that another day. Okay? On who can serve. Once that paper gets in their hands, they count 21 days. That's exactly 3 weeks. Okay? Then they go to the next Monday. And that's the day their answer is due. Period. If the 21st day falls on a Monday, then you go to the next Monday. No matter what day it falls on, it's the next Monday, and they have to have the answer filed. If the answer is not filed, then you can move forward in default, okay? That means no, I'm just joking. I was going to say raw dick, but no. That means you can raw dick the person, okay? They didn't answer. Everything you said must be the truth, or else they would come to court and change the mind of the fact finder or the listener of the evidence, which will be the judge or the jury. And since they don't care to show up, you would default. Move forward, get your relief or whatever it is you want, and too bad, so sad for the other party. The problem with this person is they can't default just because this person has not filed an answer. Because there's another law that's a 60-day cooling period here in Texas. When you file a divorce in Texas, you have got to wait 60 days from the date of filing. They want to make sure you're not just moving too fast. Sometimes especially we as women, get emotional, you get upset. Sometimes you do things. And if you thought about it harder and better and longer and deeper, you wouldn't do it. Okay? So they don't want, especially here in Texas, we are a community property state. And we definitely don't want to degrade the integrity of marriages. We want to make sure that the sanctity of the marriage is kept at high regard and held at high regard. So we just want to make sure y'all ain't, jumping to, conclusions and going too fast. With that being said, ma'am, I don't give a damn when you served him. You got to wait that 60 days from the date that you filed that divorce decree in order to get that divorce finalized. That 60-day rule does not move. The only way that you can move a 60-day rule is if there is domestic violence involved against you or a child, if there's some child molestation going on, if he has beat you, and you are the complaining witness in the case. Then you can ask the court to waive that 60-day cooling off period because there has been, there's a severe need. There's been domestic violence and you've got to get away. Okay. And then the court will say yes or no, yay or nay, to whether or not you can move forward before the 60 days. And I'm going to tell you something. Most of them push it past the 60 days before they hear the case. They'll just act like they don't have any time available for you until the 60th day or right after. And then that clerk will set it. If you have the ability to set your own dates like we do here in Harris County, you have to set it. You can set it earlier than the 60 days, but pray that they don't kick it to the side because it is very rare, few and far between, that 60-day rule is waived. So, ma'am, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to wait your time out. You done waited this long. You done dealt with them. You done got them served. Just wait the few extra days and default that ass. Raw deek that ass. All right, thank you. Next case. Next case.
Think it's time I made that call. I'm locked up and facing charges. Who gon' fight these cases for me? I called Booker Law Firm. They got the job done. They were right there for me.
For more information, contact the Booker Law Firm at 713-292-2225